All right, welcome to another deep dive. This time we're going to be diving into some of your requests for post-apocalyptic web series recommendations. Got an expert here to help me out with this.
Always happy to talk about the end of the world. There's just something so fascinating about those stories. You know?
Oh, yeah, for sure. The whole, what does it mean to be human when everything's gone kind of thing.
Exactly. And it's always exciting to see how people imagine those new societies forming, what challenges they face.
Yeah, totally. So let's jump right into it. First up, we got Black Knight. It's a South Korean series on Netflix.
Oh, this one's pretty wild. I mean, the whole premise is built around delivery drivers being like essential heroes.
Yeah. In this crazy polluted future where only 1% of humanity's left.
Yeah.
They're not just delivering packages, they're
keeping society running. It's pretty cool.
Right. So there's this legendary Black Knight named 5'8", like the number. He's got some serious fighting skills and ends up mentoring this young guy who wants to be a driver named Saul.
It's a fast-paced show, only 6 episodes.
Perfect for a weekend binge. I did see some mixed reviews, though.
Yeah, that's the thing. Some people love the action and the visuals, but others felt like it was kind of surface level.
Yeah, like more style over substance.
Exactly. So if you're looking for something really deep and philosophical, this might not be it. But if you want a fun action ride, definitely check it out.
Okay, cool. Makes sense.
Boulder Free Zone! Stu Redmond. Which one of you is Larry Underwood?
All right, next up, we got a show based on a pretty iconic book.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The Stand. Stephen King. Ever heard of it?
Of course. It's like the quintessential post-apocalyptic story.
Right. Plague wipes out most of humanity, and then you've got this battle between good and evil, represented by Mother Abigail and Randall Flagg.
So how does the show measure up to the book? It's always a tricky adaptation.
Yeah, the reviews were kind of all over the place.
Right, because the book is so dense.
Some King fans thought it was too simplified, but others thought the visuals and the acting were amazing.
It's always tough to please everyone, especially with a book as beloved as The Stand. But if you're open to a new interpretation, it's worth a watch.
Totally.
Mr. President,
I'm fine.
Okay, so moving on to something completely different. Why? The Last Man. This one's based on a comic book series.
Ah, I remember that one. Really interesting premise.
Right. What if almost every male mammal on Earth just suddenly died?
Except for this one guy, Yorick Brown, and his pet monkey.
It's like chaos. It really makes you think about gender roles and how society would change.
The show explored some of those themes for sure. It's too bad it got canceled after just 1 season.
Right. A lot of people felt like it had so much more potential.
It definitely left you wanting more. But even with just the 1 season, it's a pretty powerful exploration of a unique what-if scenario.
Yeah, agreed.
Wenn wir uns an unsere Regeln halten, dann werden wir überleben.
Okay, shifting gears a bit, we've got Helgoland 513. This one's a German show set in 2036. Rising sea levels have basically destroyed the world.
So Helgoland is like this tiny island that's one of the few safe havens left. But it's got a serious catch.
A population limit. Like they could only have a certain number of people living there.
Exactly, 513 to be precise. So imagine the moral dilemmas they face when new babies are born.
Whoa. That's heavy.
It is. It really makes you think about the choices people might make in those kinds of extreme circumstances.
I can only imagine. The trailer definitely had some intense vibes, and it stars some pretty big German actors, right?
Yeah. Alexander Fieling, Tijan Murray, Anshe Trau.
Yeah.
So yeah, acting's top-notch. And the whole show just has this amazing blend of drama, mystery, and sci-fi.
Sounds really cool. I'm definitely adding that to my list.
You should. It's one of those shows that really gets under your skin.
Makes you think.
Apenas 3% de vocês serão seleto grupo de heróis a caminho do Mar Alto.
How about a dystopian society built around some seriously messed up social inequality?
Oh, you mean 3%?
Yeah. This Brazilian series on Netflix, gotten global attention, which is pretty cool.
It definitely deserves it. The premise is so thought-provoking. You've got this divided world, the impoverished inland and the wealthy offshore, and only 3% of the candidates get to escape the inland.
Through this insane series of tests, right?
It's called The Process, and yeah, it's brutal. But the show really digs into the whole idea of social mobility and the systems that create these inequalities.
Makes you wonder, how much of that is already happening in our own world. You know?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's why 3% resonates with so many people. It holds up a mirror to our own society in a way.
Yeah. It's definitely not just mindless entertainment.
Yeah.
Batsch, Licht aus und Finsternis. Das war's dann. Mittelalter.
Okay, so from Brazil, let's jump over to Europe. But in the future, 2070 to be exact.
Tribes of Europa.
Bingo. You were saying something about the visuals in this one.
Oh, they're stunning. Absolutely breathtaking. It's like a visual feast. The whole premise is that Europe has been shattered into these warring tribes after some mysterious disaster.
Yeah, there's the Origin tribe, all about nature and stuff.
Yeah.
Then the Crows, who are basically tech-obsessed warriors, and then...
The Atlanteans, they seem to have this advanced technology that everyone's after.
So it's kind of got that Game of Thrones vibe with all the different factions and power struggles.
It does, yeah. But with a post-apocalyptic twist. Some people criticize the pacing and the character development, though.
Yeah, I could see that. But if you're into those really immersive worlds and epic battles, it's worth checking out.
For the visuals alone, it's worth a watch.
6 months ago, we were children.
Let's talk about something a little closer to home, at least in terms of the characters.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So, imagine all the adults in this town just vanished, gone, leaving a bunch of teenagers to figure things out on their own.
A society, right?
Yep. Sadly, it only got one season on Netflix.
Such a bummer. I remember thinking the premise had so much potential.
Totally. It's like Lord of the Flies, but with smartphones and social media.
And a lot more teen drama, of course.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
But I think that's what made it so interesting. It felt like a pretty realistic portrayal of how teenagers might react in that kind of situation.
Totally.
Our last recommendation is a bit out there. It's from New Zealand.
Oh, yeah. I love their stuff. What's it called?
Creamery. And be warned, it's got a pretty unique premise.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so picture this. A viral pandemic wipes out most of the men.
Okay. So it's a female-dominated world.
Totally.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Semen has become this super valuable commodity. They call it white gold.
That's different.
Yeah, it takes the whole post-apocalyptic thing and adds this layer of, like, dark humor and social satire.
I've heard great things about this show.
It's so clever, the way they explore gender roles and power dynamics, and it's actually quite funny.
That's the best kind of satire, when it can make you laugh and think at the same time.
Absolutely. So yeah, Creamery is definitely a unique one, but worth checking out if you're looking for something different.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. Everything from action-packed dystopias to, dystopias where semen is currency.
It's a diverse genre, that's for sure. But they all have that one thing in common. Exploring what happens when the world as we know it ends.
And how humanity adapts, for better or for worse.
So, to our listener, which one of these worlds would you be most interested in exploring? It's like, what kind of society would you rebuild? Would it be like all about survival? Or maybe more focused on rebuilding culture and art and stuff?
Right. It's a fascinating thought experiment. What would be the most important things to you, if you had to start from scratch?
Yeah, totally. Would you prioritize, like, individual freedom? Or maybe collective security? It's tough.
And what about technology? Do you embrace it or go back to a simpler way of life?
So many questions. And I think, like, by exploring these post-apocalyptic worlds in these shows, maybe we can get a better understanding of our own priorities.
Yeah.
Even without the whole, world-ending thing happening.
Exactly. They're like these thought experiments that make us confront our fears, but also maybe give us some hope for the future.
Totally. Well, I don't know about you, but I feel like I've learned a ton today.
Me too. Always a good time to talk about the end of the world.
Right. Huge thanks to you for sharing your expertise and passion for all things post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
I'm sure our listeners are already adding these shows to their watch list.
Hopefully. And if you're out there listening, we want to know what you think. Which one of these shows piqued your interest?
Yeah. Let us know in the comments or wherever you leave your reviews. And we'll leave you with one final thought. Something to chew on.
If you had the chance to rebuild society, what would be your top priority?
What kind of world would you create? Let us know. And until next time, happy watching.
And keep those imaginations running wild.
See ya.